You know, Bubba, you had success, and for a golfer, there can't be anything better than winning the Masters. I mean, that's like the Super Bowl. It's the one where everybody wants that green jacket, and I don't want to kind of gloss over that, but I kind of want to stay with one story that you're very open about struggles in the book, and I applaud you for that, including. Your competitive nature would sometimes get the best of you on the golf course. Angie, I think I have it here. Angie said your Christ walk is not good on the golf course. Our wives, they can zing us. I mean, they can zing us like anybody. But even your caddy Teddy Scott, he kind of got right up in your business about how you were treating him. Can you just unpack that for us?
Yeah. So. It's funny. It's almost like two different worlds. When I'm home, I was laughing. I was never anxious. I was never scared. I was never thinking should be up here or anything. So, but when I got inside the ropes, we call it inside the ropes at a golf tournament. We're inside the ropes, and that's when everything happened. That's when my mind started racing. I wanted to get the respect of fans. I want to get the respect of TV. Telecast. I want to get the respect of golfers. I want to get the respect from all these different people. And again, it goes back to that idol. I was focusing so much on golf that I was letting golf dictate who I was as a person. And inside the ropes, I would get angry because I thought, I should hit a better shot. I should be winning more. I should get more fans. I should do this, do that. I mean, all these things about, I was letting my game, my job dictate who I was as a person, especially inside the ropes. And my Ted Scott, 15 years on my bag as my caddy, Christian man. That's why I hired him in 2006. He could lead me. He led me as a friend, but as a husband, as a dad, and then as a Christian man of faith. And so he called me out a few times when I started going down the wrong path, when I was putting so much pressure on myself, trying to fall into this reaction of trying to be the best. And instead of focusing on God's word and then letting golf just take over, I was focusing on golf and then sometimes sprinkling God over here. And same thing with my wife. My wife would see it and she could feel it, and she knew that I was going the wrong path. And then obviously 2012, we adopted our first child, Caleb. And YouTube is a thing now, and social media is a thing now where it calls me out, and I can try to get better as a person, and then my kids are going to see that at some point, and hopefully they know me as a dad and a godly man, and I can talk to them openly about I made mistakes, but here's where I'm trying to get better. Here's where I'm trying to improve as a man. So people like that calling me out. I had Webb Simpson, who plays on tour, great God-fearing man, being able to call me out. I mean, there's so many people that have called me out. When I say so many, 5 or 6 people that have called me out where I've got to get better. Luckily I have people in my life that can call me out, and they're not afraid to do that. And I love them for that, because that's the only way I'm going to get better is if I'm called out. If I'm not called out, I don't see that I'm going the wrong way.
Bubba, I'm a big fan of the ups in life. Can you take us to that moment where you win your first Masters and they're putting the famous green jacket on you? Tell us about that moment, the years of playing the game and the practices and the weather and the competition. Can you tell us about that moment?
Well, in this moment, there's thousands of stories. So there's a lot to unpack here, but I never liked green so much, especially that color green. I didn't know I would like it so much, but I really do. And so the first story is when they actually put it on, they have, we'll say, they have my number, they know my sizes. And so they roll out these jackets. And so they put the first one on me, and I said, don't take it off. And they said, well, you want to see if this fits right? And I said, it fits perfect. We're good. I said, I don't want you to ever take it away from me, so I don't want to take it off. And so we just stayed with that one. I never put another one on. I don't know if it's too long, too short. I just went with it. Yeah. And so that's one story where, the insides, and then when they have your name etched in there, so you always know that it's your jacket. But then the moment of actually winning, 2 weeks before we adopted Caleb, he couldn't leave the state of Florida. So my wife stayed home, and she said, "You're playing really good. Go to Augusta." So I went to Augusta early. And so winning, I couldn't get home fast enough. There was a lot of interviews, a lot of things that had to happen. She's sending me all these photos, and we're FaceTiming. And, I saw her picture after I won. I'm in Butler Cabin, and Jim Nantz showed the picture of her that she sent to him, of them watching the coverage, and, he's on her shoulder. And then I got home. I landed at 3 in the morning in Orlando, and she feeds him around 6. So I was up at 6 feeding my baby boy. So those are the moments that I truly cherish and think about. Luckily, when you win the Masters, a private jet somehow randomly shows up. So I had this big private jet that got me home quick. And, there was just moments like that. And then having 3 pro golfers have to walk the course down to the 10th green. When I think about my faith, when I think about God's eye-opening moments, all these people have talked about Bubba Watson and can't make it, can't do this. Is he liked on tour? There's so many different moments like that where I always read the negatives. I don't ever read the positives. And so to have 3 golfers, Ricky Fowler, Aaron Badley, Ben Crane, walk down. They have to leave the clubhouse. They can't go inside the ropes. They have to walk just like the patrons, the fans on the outside the ropes, and their families went. They went down there and watched me to support me. I could lose, but they went down there and supported me. And when I won, I was there to hug them. They were there to hug me. And it was just a eye-opening experience that I am influencing, or maybe they're influencing me, and they wanted to be there to support me. And so that was a cool moment. So that's what I'm saying. When I first won, there was just so many thoughts going through my head. The moments after tapping the putt in, my mom was there, and I was crying, thinking about my dad. I just became a dad, and thinking about my hard work that my mom and dad put into me. And all I could get out, I was crying. I got one of those ugly cry faces. And I told my mom that thank you. That's all I could get out. I couldn't get anything else out.
What an incredible moment that you were just sharing. And Bob, as you were just talking, I was just wondering, it's just amazing, the platform and the gift that God has given you. And it's just beautiful even to hear you unpacking and sharing all the different layers of your story. Is there ever a moment that you were on the golf course, playing during one of the tournaments, that God actually spoke to you, or you had a moment with God on the green?
Are you talking about like when I won, or just anywhere during a round?
Anytime that's like sticks out to you.
Yeah, so 2000, it started way back when I was a child, little bits and pieces add up. And then 17 was the boiling point of my lowest, rock bottom moment, as we'll call it. And so when I hit that rock bottom where I fell to my knees, now learning and trying to come out of this moment, or this time, 2018. And I remember people around me, talking to me, sending me messages. It was taking in the moments. And if I'm going to mess this all up because I get nervous talking to y'all, but if God can provide for the birds who don't store, I'm messing this all up. But so on the golf course, I started focusing on the birds in the trees and flying. And when you hear the birds chirping, it made me think, okay, if the birds are taken care of, then why not? What about me? What about us as people, God's creation? And then he can take care of us. And so it wasn't about me playing better golf. It wasn't about me. It was about me coming out of this hole and always trying to focus on the Lord is with me. The Lord is, don't worry about what you're nervous about right now. Don't think about that. Let's focus on the beauty that God has created. So on the golf course, it's an easy one to think about because you're kind of looking up into the trees, kind of looking towards heaven. And then you're listening to the birds. And so I would do that with Teddy. I'd be like, okay, there was a bird. Okay, there was another one. And so I was just trying to take my mind off of inside the ropes, the anxiety that I was just battling or trying to come out of, my rock bottom moment. So in 2018 is where I really started focusing on listening to birds and trying to think about the beauty of that and what God has created.
Well, that's good. I don't golf anymore, but when I did, I remember thinking of how beautiful the place is. You're walking, it's a beautiful area that you're walking through, and Yet, of course, frustration for me on how bad I played and hit shots. But let me ask you, there's probably some young person watching somewhere that has dreams and hopes of not necessarily golf, but some success. What would you say to some young person who wants to have success in their chosen field, and specifically the spiritual aspect of that as well?
That's a good one. You know, I would have to say it has to be God first, because your job, my job happens to be a sport, will let you down. I've never been number one in the world. Even if I was number one in the world, I've been number two twice, but it doesn't sustain you. People are still going to send you negative social media posts. So you have to be focused on what's most important, and Jesus and your family. If you have loved ones, you have a wife, you have a husband, that's what you need to focus on. That's where God wants you to be. Your job is just something you do so you can pay a few bills here and there and eat, but you have to focus on what's most important that can sustain you. Winning a trophy, the trophy's going to rot away. They're going to have a new news story. There's going to be a new Super Bowl champion. There's going to be a doctor that hopefully cures something. There's going to be a doctor that's better than you. There's going to be a president that's better than you. There's going to be a lawyer that's better than you. At some point, old age will slow you down at some point. So you got to be focused on what's above and what's beautiful and what's there for you and what can lead you in the right direction, and that's Jesus Christ. And I wish I would have had it earlier, so I wouldn't have chased golf as much as I have. Now, as I get older, I can see the platform, and I think that's where, when you focus on Jesus, you can use your platform. Wherever that platform is, it doesn't matter. You can always use that platform to shine the light of Jesus.